Listen to this. You're listening to a wobble board, a musical instrument invented by one of these three men. What is your name, please?
My name is Rolf Harris.
My name is Rolf Harris.
My name is Rolf Harris.
Only one of these men is the real Rolf Harris. The other two are imposters and will try to fool this panel. Tom Poston, Peggy Cass, Orson Bean, and Kitty Carlisle. On to Tell the Truth with your host, Bud Collyer.
Thank you very much. Welcome once again to Tell the Truth. Brought to you this week by new self-polishing Aerowax with Jet Age plastic for the tough, long-lasting shine that never yellows floors. New Aerowax. Good evening, panel.
Good evening, Bud.
Oh, my. It's such a joy always to be with you. I have to say that because it is. It's absolutely true. Makes the evening, makes the week, and everything else. Please open your envelope and follow along as I read. I, Rolf Harris, am a comedian and singer. As a hobby, I paint. On one occasion, I was painting a picture on a masonite board. I was in a hurry, so I put the masonite over a stove to dry. Pretty soon, it started to get hot. I snatched the painting off the stove, started to fan it in the air, and as a result, made one of the major musical discoveries of the 20th century, the wobble board. I quickly incorporated the new instrument in the accompaniment to a song I had written and was about to record. The unusual bloop, bloop, bloop sound made by the wobble board helped sell over 750,000 copies of the record, which is entitled Tie Me Kangaroo Down Sport. Signed, Rolf Harris. And so, panel, these three gentlemen all claim to be Rolf Harris, composer of Tie Me Kangaroo Down Sport. You've heard it, Peggy?
Yes, I love
Well, then
the
suppose
song.
you start the questioning.
Oh. Number 3, is your wobble board considered a percussion instrument?
Sort of.
Number 1, how do you play this wobble board?
Manipulating the wrists.
Thank you. Number 2, do you have to heat it to play it?
No.
No. Number 3, Tie Me Kangaroo Down Sport must be Australian, is it?
I wrote it in England.
Thank you. Number 1, what's a koala bears eat?
Oh, mainly gum leaves.
Number 2, what's a dingo?
Dingo is the Australian wild dog.
Wow, how about that? Orson.
Well, I was up to now humiliated to say that I haven't gotten over to the Blue Angel yet to see Rolf Harris, and now I'm glad, because I would have known him and had to disqualify myself. I know he's working over there. Number 2, Rolf Harris, one of your lines says, watch me wallabies feed, boys, watch me wallabies feed, they're a dangerous breed, boys. I'm sorry, folks, I got carried away. Why are they a dangerous breed? What is a wallaby?
A wallaby is a small... you got the quotation wrong, by the way. A wallaby is a small species of kangaroo. It's a different shape, slightly small.
Was it one of the other beasties in the song is dangerous?
No, you got the dangerous bit right. It's the boys was wrong.
Number 3, is the cockatoo native to Australia, as is mentioned in your song also?
Mainly in the bush.
Save Buddy Bell, folks.
City.
Number 1, do you know who George Antile is?
George Anthill is an Australian painter.
Number 2, can you tell me what tempera is?
It's something to do with egg mixed with paint. I'm not sure. It's a method of painting.
Thank you. Number 3, how big is your wobble board?
What?
30 inches by 35 inches.
30 inches by... And you manipulate this but with the wrists?
Well, by bending it with the wrists.
And number 1, what is masonite?
Swedish hardboard is what they call it in England.
Like plywood?
Yes, it's a prefabricated mixture.
Number
material.
2, why did you put this on the stove to dry?
Because Tom Poston wanted it that way. Tom?
Well, I'd like to ask, number 2, are you Australian?
Yeah.
What do koala bears eat?
Gum leaves, mainly. The eucalyptus leaves. We had the question earlier.
I don't know, but... How do I know he was telling the truth, number 2? Well, the reason I asked you was because I thought they ate only eucalyptus leaves. Is that right, number 3?
They do eat a lot of mostly eucalyptus leaves and other leaves.
And other leaves?
Yes.
I heard in a zoo that they had to keep koala bears alive by importing eucalyptus leaves to them. Is that
Not
true?
necessarily. We grow it right down there in Tasmania.
No, in American zoo.
That's all the time we have. Unfortunately, it was developing rather interestingly, I think. So will you mark your eucalyptus leaves now, or your ballots, I don't care which, but mark them at once, please, for the one you think is the real one, without consultation, and vote for number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers will be awarded $250 for every incorrect vote. Are all ballots marked, panel? Very well. Tom, for whom did you vote?
I voted for number 2. It says in the fact sheet here that he's a comedian, and I thought he was pretty funny.
Peggy Cass.
Well, I spent some time in Australia, so I voted for number 2 because he's very jaunty, like all those Australians.
And Orson.
Well, number 3 looks like a full-blooded Tasmanian to me. He says he's from Tasmania, and I believe Rolf Harris, whoever he is from Australia. And number 2 threw me off with the bird in the bush, so I voted for number 1.
I see. Kitty.
I voted for number 2 because he knew about tempera, and number 1 didn't know that George Antile is famous for electronic musical instruments, and I thought maybe if he were the real one, he would know. And also well, all right.
All right, so we have 3 votes for number 2, 1 for number 1. And with that, we come into the truth area to find out immediately which one of these gentlemen actually is the one who has written this song. And I want to show you something now that your minds are all made up and your votes are in. This is a wobble board.
Of course it is.
A genuine article. We have persuaded the real Rolf Harris to sing us a bit of his song, the Timey Kangaroo Down Sport. So will the real Rolf Harris please stand up and sing for us?
You remember the song starts off with the bass fiddle goes, and then the guitar goes, and I say, there's an old Australian stockman lying, dying. And he gets himself up onto one elbow and he turns to his mates who are gathered round in the studios in New York. And he says, watch me wallabies feed, mate. Right? Watch me wallabies feed, mate. Watch me wallabies feed. Hey, they're a dangerous breed, mate. So watch me wallabies feed. All together now, time me kangaroo. That's where the chorus comes. You're not going to leave me singing the chorus, am I? Eh? Let's try that. All together now, time me kangaroo down, sport. Time me kangaroo down, fantastic. Time me kangaroo down, sport. Time me kangaroo down. Once again now, time me kangaroo down, sport. Time me kangaroo down. Time me kangaroo down, sport. Time me kangaroo down.
Rolfie, thank you very much. Thank you. Number 1, what is your real name and what do you really do?
My name is John Bulbeck, and I'm a correspondent in New York for Reuters News Agency.
Thank you, sir. And number 3, what is your real name and what do you do, sir?
My name is Bob Harrow, and I'm the chief photographer for American Export and its Branson Shipping Line.
Well, in checking the score, we find, I'm sorry, that the panel was real smart. And that means a smaller take-home pay for you, I grant you. But there was 1 incorrect vote, 3 correct. And for that 1 incorrect, $250 coming your way from Aeroax, as well as a gift package of all the fine products from the makers of Aeroax. We hope any monetary difference from what you might have received was more than made up for by the good time you had. You certainly gave us a good time. We thank you for that. Good night, and God bless you.